you can start with the one main goal and you build around that. But you can't build around that, say, I'm going to mess this up, mess that up, and still think you're going to get that same equation, that same answer, that same goal or outcome. This is what I was explaining. But because we get, and I'm sure she did too, I'm sure all throughout the pandemic, she was watching these people that were online selling dreams through courses and mentorships and different things like that, and she probably fell for that, believing, hey, I could do this too, even though you already had your time to do that type of thing. It's long since passed, because it takes years and years to build something up. That's why you have to start early. When you look at the real majorly successful people of this world, they started early. Like, you'll hear stories like Samuel Jackson, how he started acting at this age and that age. But you got to understand, he was pursuing that even before that. You see what I'm saying? That was an interest even before that. It wasn't like he just woke up one day and decided to go pursue that, which that's sometimes how we look at it when we see these type of stories. But if you really go and study the people that really have made it, you'll see that they started before they had kids, before they had family, before all of that. Now, of course, you can go and find some examples here and there. But when you're looking at percentage-wise, see, we have to be willing to step out of that it's possible thing. Because in statistics, what you learn is that everything's possible. If you take any equation and you take any circumstance or situation and you say, what's possible there? Everything has a slight possibility. But look up here at the screen. This is what people are saying when they say, well, it's possible. They're right. But look at this. So when you ask the question, out of all the world's adults, how many percentage-wise are millionaires? Right? Which I say millionaires only because that's what a lot of people would equate to being, financially wealthy, right? If you're a millionaire. Even though the more time goes by, that value gets less and less, which is another reason why it's probably not going to happen, because by the time you get to a certain amount, now that's worthless. Which, as a side note, that's why I don't really think that there's really going to be any headway with this whole reparations thing. Because if they was to suddenly flood everybody with a bunch of millions, it would take the value away of being a millionaire. Like right now, we have all this stuff now where people can get on TV, you can get on the Roku channel. People got all these networks, and by the way, I don't want to be on TV. It's not what it's cracked up to be. That's a dream for those that don't know. But hey, I messed up where I was going with that. But anyway, look up here at the top here. So we have out of all the adults, we have 1.1% are millionaires. Now, when you go and say, oh, that's of course it's possible. You say, oh, it's possible, but this is the percentage you're talking about. 1%. If you were in some kind of life or death situation and they say you only had 1% chance, you ain't gonna make it. That's basically saying you got no percent. Especially when you're looking at statistics and numbers and things like that. Now, here's the hustle. Here's where people get jammed up. And I really feel like this is where this sister got jammed up, because she was paying attention to this kind of stuff here. Check this out. So if you go and listen to an Eric Thomas or a Les Brown, they're going to tell you, hey, anything's possible if you just want it bad enough. That's the motivation hustle. Because what they want to do is get you feeling good about it. Get you feeling good, because if you feel good, now you're going to spend. Okay? So you'll buy their books. You'll buy their go to their conventions and all that stuff like this. And by the way, I gotta tell you, I love these guys. Like, don't get it wrong, man. They're good at what they do. You need a boost in your life? Pull up some Eric Thomas or Les Brown and tell me you won't feel a little better. But here's the hustle of it, though. What they don't tell you is this. While you're making a decision based on how you feel, real businessmen, real investors, people that got money, and I'm not speaking from a place of like I'm any of that, because I'm not. All I'm saying is from what I've studied and what I've listened to and researched. Real people, and you can look this up. I mean, you don't have to believe me. You look this up. You ask anybody. People that make business decisions, they don't do it off emotion. They look at the numbers. You see what I'm saying? But people that are so emotionally invested into an idea, they'll defend it. They'll get mad and you know, they just got almost want to cuss you out because they don't feel good about what you're saying. Doesn't mean it's not true. So you have Les Brown, right? You go look up his. I did a video on this too. You go to my channel, check that out. Les Brown, he got this joint called It's Possible. He's like, I don't want you to say you could do it. I don't want you to say you could 100% do it. I just want you to say it's possible. Right? And I remember watching it too. I was the same one that was like, yeah, it's possible. I was entranced. But when I start looking at statistics and I start seeing how, yeah, it's possible, but it's this possible percent, this 1% possible. That's what they don't tell you, which means really it ain't possible. But of course, if you're emotionally tied in, you're gonna get angry at that. But you gotta look at the numbers. You got to look at the numbers. What are the numbers saying? You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. That's the truth right there. People don't want to admit that, but that's just what it is. Man. I'm going to use my life as an example because I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking down like this. I'm talking up my life. I learned this from my life, right? You cannot mess up the first half of your life, okay? And really assume that you could live the last half of your life as if you didn't mess up the first half. Now here's we go. Is it possible? Yes. Yes, it's possible. But it's this 1% possible. Most likely it's not gonna work out. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because listening to this garbage and having this type of stuff in my mind is what made me throw away chances. I'm throwing away chances thinking, well, it's possible. I can still get out and make something of myself. It's possible. But why live life that way? Why live life in the 1% range? In the 1% possibility? Why not just do the right thing and step over into the 90, 95%, 98% range? That's the only thing. That's the only thing I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it's not possible because that's as I was talking to this lady, right? She's telling me, well, it's possible. It's possible. I understand that. I understand that it's possible. That's how they sold me too. But what you gotta look at is get out of the feeling, get out of the emotion, and see that yes, it's possible, but it's 1%. And they can look at your whole life. They can map your whole life out. They can say, okay, you came from this background, you have this, that, and they can add up all the data of your life and come up with an equation as to where you will be, how you will end up. Now, it's not 100%. It's never 100% in statistics and science. It's never 100%. And I love that because that's like saying, hey, I could be wrong. But most of the people that you'll talk to, because they're so emotionally invested, they can't do that. They would rather end the relationship with you and any chance of doing any future business with you rather than to say, hey, maybe I could be wrong. And to me, I can do that. I got no problem doing that. But it's crazy the people that, because they're so angry, they have to be mad about it. And I'm not trying to we don't have to be mad. We don't have to fight. All I'm saying is, yeah, it's possible, but it's 1%. Oh man, we ain't even cracked the seal on this yet, man. We didn't even crack the seal on this. So like I said, even with my life, of course it's a struggle now because I was a fool earlier. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way it goes. You don't get to these people that didn't, make the same mistakes that I made. It wouldn't be fair to say, oh, I could just jump right back to where they are in life. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. But you can still say, yeah, it's possible. Man, people. So, but anyway, look, forget about the statistics, right? Because that's already a big enough barrier right there. That should already let you know, when you look at your life, add up the circumstances, man. It don't add up to 1 million, trust me. Especially when you look at those that have the millions. And plus, it ain't all it's cracked up to be. You think it's gonna help you, it ain't. But besides all the statistics, besides all the math, because I know that's boring, as nobody wants to hear all that blah, 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 right? Even though it's facts. It's facts. But besides all that, most of us, and I'm including myself in this, I just learned this stuff. Going to college, that's why I like the whole college is a scam thing, because in college, man, it teaches you how to research. It teaches you how to look up something instead of just, oh, okay, I'm gonna go with that, which is how we basically grow up learning information. We just take it for what it is because we're getting it from people in authority. But once you step off to college, now you can go and find out because you're constantly having to research, look up sources, get in the libraries and all that. So it teaches you how to start thinking in that way. Let me look into this a little further before I just jump onto it. So I don't like the whole college is a scam thing because it's a good experience for kids, man. Especially if you do it right, you do it coming out of high school, do your thing. That's the way you want to do that. But most of us, we never really get taught about money.